All right, we're back for another episode of the Bull of MLM Network Marketing Warfare. Had to change my intro because as much as I love the Imperial March, I just don't think it was too fitting with Bull sound effects or whatever. This is the Bull of MLM Network Marketing Warfare podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to talk all about the network marketing industry. MLM, multi-level marketing. Some people have it confused with affiliate marketing. I love to have great, awesome conversations with people who agree with me, disagree with me, because the industry's got, I would say, a connotation or a reputation that some people just don't like or whatnot, myself included for a while. So I have awesome people on as guests. This one has taken me a while to book, and I'm very, very, very thankful for your time. But Bre Bear from the Bre Bear over on Instagram and YouTube, your channel came out of nowhere. Your videos came up. I watched them, and I'm like, oh my God! From your first video, I'm like, I have to get this woman on as a guest. So A, thank you for taking the time out to join today. B, we're going to just jump right into it. Give everybody a 360-degree view of who you are.
All right. Awesome. So thanks for having me, Dominic. I appreciate it. So I go by Brie. My full name is Brianne, but people always call me Breen. So Brie is just easier, but it is Brianne. And I am a 34-year-old mom, almost 35. So almost, I think that's middle-aged. I have 3 kids. I live in Maine, in the middle of nowhere, kind of rural Maine. I used to be a nurse. I was a nurse. Well, I was a CNA for years, became an RN, have a bachelor's degree. I didn't lose my nursing license, but I got into some trouble when I was an addict. So I became an addict actually at the same time that I was a nurse. Struggled with addiction only for about 3 or 4 years. And I say only because I am unfortunately one of the lucky ones that A, it didn't take, and B, got out of it with, less than half a decade of active addiction. So I quit nursing and got pregnant. And during my pregnancy, I ended up looking online. This was like 2015. And I found network marketing. And so I took all the experience that I had from nursing, which is you have experience in everything. You're a plumber, you're a waitress, you're, a secretary, you are doing it all for all kinds of different people. So I took that experience with people basically and just really poured it into network marketing. And I was awful at first, like probably most people are. I didn't do well, excuse me, for my first 2 companies, I would say. And then I joined a third one. And I also started a weight loss journey at the same time. This was in 2018. And I started losing weight and it stuck. It all happened at the same time. I go into my weight loss journey. I start becoming successful with network marketing finally after like 3 dedicated years of struggling. I'm like the girl that was on welfare. I have been dirt floor poor. I have been homeless. I have lived in my car. So I have seen the bottom of the bottom. I've been to jail. I've been addicted. I've been an IV user. And I have also been, at the top of network marketing, not the tippy top, but I, was in, I think probably the top 0.5%. And I've seen it all. And I decided 2021. So almost 2 years ago, I actually walked away from network marketing in a position where most people would be like, bitch, you are insane. Why would you walk away from that much money, that big of a team? But I did. I walked away in December 21, early 22, and I haven't gone back to the industry. I don't particularly plan on it. So I started making videos in February of this year. I stumbled upon Anti-MLM actually in that kind of transition phase out of network marketing, but I didn't even know that these kind of creators existed until I was like 2 or 3 months into what I call my healing from MLM journey. And I discovered a lady who I was on a team with in Prove It and started watching her content. And it just like Some of the things stuck with me. Now I take what resonates and I leave what doesn't, as far as any creator, and it helped. It helped. And so as time went on, I start seeing these other creators popping up, and I start seeing just incredibly toxic, harmful, shitty things being said and promoted. And the way that they're acting is so just very judgy and self-righteous. And so I think, like you, I am one of those people that I don't care to speak. Like, it doesn't bother me to speak out, to say my truth, to, tell people what I've been through, where I've been. And I just started making videos. It upset some people. I'm still making them. I'm in the middle of editing one that is taking forever, and I'm not going to stop. I'm probably not going to focus on anti-MLM forever. But that's where I started my YouTube journey. So it's only been a couple of months, and I like YouTube. I like it.
Yeah, YouTube it has its ups and downs. I have a couple of channels on YouTube. I've been on it for over 10 years. It's got its ups and downs. I find it so fascinating while you're talking. There's similarities. We were both in other professions. You were a nurse, I was a cop. Right. And I'm thinking, all right, I got like, why would you leave? What was the whole why would you leave a network marketing if you built such a team? But I know the answer to that on my personal thing, which is, dude, at a certain point in time, like with my specific company I'm with, there's two ways of making money, which is selling the product or building the team, right? And at a certain point, dude, I don't want to sell the product every day. It's legitimately boring, and it's the same thing. It's a job. So people do I can make great money on it, but the real money is building a team. And then people know how unbelievably hard it is to build a team, because you're now talking about people who are trying to be entrepreneurs, who don't have that drive. If entrepreneurship was so easy, everybody would do it. What I liked about your content is your problem solving. I do tend to complain about a lot of stuff, right? Like the law enforcement industry, I talk very heavy. I've been critiquing, been on the news, and been in documentaries about anti-law enforcement stuff. Right? I'm a retired cop, and I say that I believe that law enforcement is becoming domestic terrorism, right? But I'm not turning into like a sovereign citizen and defund the police. This is what we need to do to change it. We need to go back to the Constitution. We need to look at this. We need to look at that. I kind of like your content for anti-MLM because it's the same thing. It never made sense to me why you get all these anti-MLM people who are like, I was at the top X% of my company and then I left. Okay, my question is, even if you were making $1,000 a month additional coming in from MLM after the time you put in, you can stop your business, and it may take 7, 8, 9 months for that $1,000 to start dwindling down. So I want to know, in your case specifically, and nobody's ever really wanted to talk about this, when you say you quit, did you just say, hey, I'm making X amount of dollars a month, stop sending me checks right now, I quit, and then you walked away from everything? Or did you quit MLM by just saying, hey, I'm not putting in the effort anymore, and then you still enjoyed the benefit of those checks coming in for a while? And then I want your views. Why didn't you go online and start the whole, it's a scam, it's this, it's that, which never made sense to me, because if everybody's benefiting it for so long, obviously they got something personally happened to them for them to say it's a scam. I mean, that happens in every industry. I wrote a book about it in law enforcement. Law enforcement's not a scam, but what happened to me sucked. It was personal. Then I lashed out and attacked back, but it's not a scam. So ultimately, I want to hear those kind of views. Did you just quit and say, hey, keep your money? Or did you let it dwindle down? And then that goes into like, did you abandon your team? Did you try to fix things? I want to hear about that journey specifically.
No, I think that's a really good question, because, when people do leave MLM, it comes in various different ways and forms and processes. And so I had actually hurt my ankle. I was at a trampoline park with my kids being a douchebag and jumping like I shouldn't have been. And I'm way too old to be jumping that way. And I hurt my ankle. I thought I broke it, but I sprained it really bad. So I'm laid up in bed. This is December 2021. I told so a little background. I had joined this company with two other women. And this is where, if I had not done this particular move, I'd probably still be in the industry, to be honest. So I joined with two other women. We went in as three separate entities within one team. And the way we structured it was the person who found the company and like got us hooked up with the VP of sales, she was the first like spot.
Okay.
And then I was in the middle, and my best friend Robin was at the bottom. And so my friend Robin is a really good recruiter. And she's like, fuck, I don't care. I'll take the bottom. I'm the best recruiter out of all of you. I was the customer girl. And the one at the top, she was the pretty one. Like, I'm pretty and I know that, but she was the pretty one. And I don't have anything else to say about that. That's what her purpose was. And so
we're going to get into that kind of stuff, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's not a dig on women in general, but I'm just going to say it. Some women are just pretty, and that's all they have going for them. And she was. And so she was top spot. I'm the middle. Robin's the bottom. Robin brings in like 60 to 100 people her first week when we go into that company. She is a monster when it comes to recruiting.
That is insane.
Yeah. So I'm getting customers, and the company that we were in paid out really well on customers. So I'm cool with that. I have Robin's volume. Eventually, stuff starts happening between Robin and the girl that we joined under. Technically, we joined as one team. A three-part team, a three-way. We called ourselves, oh my gosh, what did we call ourselves? The Trinity. The Trinity, like, I can't even believe this to this day. It's so embarrassing. Anyway, we were supposed to all stay the same rank and all have the same income and all put in the same effort, because of course that is the fair way. If everyone's making the same amount of money, you all should be working the same. That doesn't end up happening. Robin recruits a bunch of people. The girl that we joined recruits a bunch of people. I'm just over here getting customers, and I was the person building the group. We use like an ATM system. I'm the person doing all the live videos. So we didn't all stay the same rank is basically what happened. She hit a rank of Emerald, which is a high rank in that company, about 2 months in August.
Is that the recruiter or the person who was the good looking one?
The pretty one.
Yeah.
She hit Emerald really fast. And
she wasn't doing any work, was she?
She really wasn't. Yeah. She was just being pretty. Mm-hmm. And me and Robin are, busting our asses for this group. We're taking care of our teams. And it was so unfair. Eventually, Robin snaps at this pretty lady and says, you are not holding up your end of the bargain. So stupidity. And here's a little advice for anyone in network marketing. Never join unless you have every single nuance of your agreement in writing. Like, never join with somebody and take my story as a lesson. Because I promise you, it doesn't matter if they call you their sister or their brother. It doesn't matter if you are blood, if you are family. People will fuck you over so fast in the name of money. They don't care. She lost 2 of her closest friends for a rank, for a title, for money. And, of course,
now, so much. Can we pause there for a second and say, that's not the company, that is the people going into it. Because not for nothing, yeah, theoretically speaking, based off of everything, you can have tits and ass and be on Instagram and not have any ability whatsoever, but because you have recruiters underneath you that are working, you make money. Mm-hmm. So can we say right now that, as everybody likes to say, it's a scam, that may be morally, hey, I want to do as much work as you do, but we know that doesn't happen in any business. So I have no idea why people go online and they start condemning network marketing as a scam when that's been the whole business model. You have no control underneath you what the work effort they're going to do.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think I have ever, maybe, but I don't think I've ever publicly, called network marketing a scam.
No, you haven't.
Necessarily.
No, you haven't.
I don't think so. I try to keep that. Now, I do believe there are some companies that act very much like schemes, and they are just a product away, a very flimsy product away from a pyramid scheme. Yeah, there are companies.
Well, all of them, legitimately, by definition, they are pyramid schemes. By definition, scam. There's a difference between a scam and a scheme.
Yes.
I did a whole video on this. A scheme is you and I, we're making a plan to go to lunch that day and we're scheming. It's just a plan. That's all it is by definition. So, I mean, it's semantics, but I get it.
True. So, yeah, it wasn't like in this particular situation, it wasn't the company. It wasn't the way the company was set up. It was the whole principle of this pretty girl. Even though I say she was just pretty, she's smart in a manipulative kind of narcissistic way, very selfish way. I know how to get what I need from people, so I will do whatever I have to do to do that. And that's what she did. She pulled one over on two of the most street smart women that were in the industry at the time, who thought, me and Robin thought, no one can pull anything over our eyes. We've seen it all. We've done it all. We've been like scammers, schemers ourselves. And I'm not here to tell Robin's story, but she's a lot like me. I'll just say that. Very similar history. And we were hurt. So it took a lot out of me personally from an emotional level, spiritual kind of place. And that is why I walked away. Now, when I say I quit, from your question earlier, I didn't quit. I didn't text so we joined that company direct to corporate, and no one had ever done that. We pissed so many top leaders off, and we were the first ones to ever do it. I don't know if they are, probably not. We were such a headache to him. But anyway, I didn't text him and say, hey, I'm leaving. I continued to collect a check. I sure did. And I'm not afraid to say that. It probably wasn't the right thing to do now looking back on it, but I will say this, I had to survive. And I knew that those checks weren't going to be coming in forever. I have a Jeep that I got from the Jeep program from that company. And so I continued to collect that for as long as I could. And that lasted about 6 months. So I was up at the middle of that plan, but technically you
just stopped building and working, right? I wish more people were like you, because when you explain things, it's legitimate a problem in network marketing. And you didn't complain about the company. You didn't complain about the structure. You complained about manipulation among human beings, which is all over the place. Can I tell you that I probably know people who slept their way into the sergeant's position, or people who got themselves jobs by having sex with command staffs? So it's like, did I hate the game or hate the player? Right? Hey, so-and-so got the new squad car. So-and-so did this. Who are they fucking? So but that's in every industry, right? Go on social media. Well, somebody's got a bigger IG account than I do. Well, they're built better than I am, or they're more charismatic. So we understand that and I'm not saying you're jealous at all, but some people use attributes better ways than we do. So I didn't hear you blame the business. I heard you blame other scumbag human beings, which is about as genuine as it gets, and I can get on board with that, because anybody who comes into network marketing, thank God you said this, and doesn't understand, you could go in with somebody else and say, hey, we're going to run, we're going to be millionaires, that person's going to do shit, and just in your effort, maybe calling 100 people a day, they could call 100 people in 5 years. So that's why I love your stuff, is you're talking about your story, but you've never condemned the industry. You've condemned human beings, which to me is what is more fucking important. I want to kind of go back to this. Predatory aspects of recruiting and network marketing. Do you feel that you were a victim? I respect you so much for talking about your past, but you came from nursing, found yourself in a predicament, and then went into network marketing. Were you in a position of being vulnerable? Did you get that manipulative, hey, all you got to do is talk to 2 people, you're going to make 6 figures within your first 6 months? Did you fall into that? And do you feel that since network marketing is predominantly a female-run industry, that women are targeted because of that false promise garbage?
Well, this is a very interesting kind of take. I was never ever in my life ever asked to join network marketing. I was never approached. No one ever recruited me. I actually found a woman online completely randomly when I joined my first company. My first company ever was It Works. I think a lot of women, we started there, and this was 2015. I found this gal from, oh my goodness, I can't remember, Illinois, maybe Chicago. I'm not sure. Maybe around you somewhere. But
don't tell me it was
anyway.
Jessica Hickson.
No, it wasn't. No.
One of my favorites.
I know you love her right to death.
Just psycho.
So I joined her. She never asked me to join. So I never got, back then anyway, the hey girl, blah, blah, blah. Now I will say I was vulnerable. I will say that. And I say that because I was fresh into recovery. So anyone in that, so it may just be that where I was at the time would make anyone in that position vulnerable. Knew I was still working as a nurse at the time. And then I got really sick when I was pregnant. So I had to quit eventually and needed money. So I would say, yeah, that is another strike for I was vulnerable. Other than that, I didn't know anything about the industry whatsoever. I had never heard the phrases pyramid scheme, or I didn't, and again, this is 2015. So new on the internet, these businesses were being like, this is when they were on Groupon. You could barely find it on Facebook. I just happened to. And, what was the other part of that question? I forgot.
Do you think that people prey on women specifically because of the whatever it is, right? Yeah. And I'm not being sexist, but I will be sexist. Dopamine levels. People are on Instagram to wind up, getting likes for bikini pictures. Look at me do all this kind of stuff. God knows I admit that I do that kind of stuff. Do we prey? Yeah. Do we prey on females in network marketing because of their housewife status, female gender? You clearly are doing nothing with your day. You're going to be famous and rich and hey, hun, all that shit. Do we target women specifically because they're easy targets?
That is that's a hard one. I mean, I personally think the reason there are so many women in the industry is because it started with fucking Tupperware, and it's like this kind of snowball effect if you think about it. And I don't know for sure, but I assume it started with like home parties. I remember going to, like the SEX toy parties. Those were all women. Tupperware parties were mostly women. My mom used to host Pampered Chef parties. Those were a lot of women. So I don't know if it's that network marketing in particular targets women, or the fact that women are the shoppers of the household. It's a fact. In retail, in network marketing, women are the decision makers for the most part in, a nuclear family type household where there's a man, a woman, and kids. She's the one on Instacart ordering the groceries, at least in my house. We are the ones who shop. There's some kind of, and I used to use this statistic when I was in network marketing on opportunity calls. I cannot remember it, but women are the ones who spend money. So
yeah. Yes,
I don't know.
I owned a gym for a few years, and it was a martial arts gym, and I actually got to talk to a man named Bob Wall, and he was in a Bruce Lee film called Enter the Dragon. He played the character O'Hara, had the scar on his eyes. I was friends with a man who lived out here whose father knew him, and one day my buddy Scotty calls me and says, hey, I got somebody on the phone with you. So I'm like, what? And it was Bob Wall, this ornery 72-year-old Bruce Lee movie star, all this stuff. And he goes, I hear you want to build your gym up. He told me the system, how he wound up catering to owning like 70 dojos throughout his life. Was you come up with a kids program because the kids are going to impress the moms. The moms are going to holler about it. The moms are going to tell the dads to open up the checkbook and spend the money. So you said, but it's all about impressing the moms. He goes, you don't teach the moms, and moms are going to do it, but the moms are going to wind up seeing their kids do it. So yeah, it was all about the women having the deciding buying power. In our industry, Yeah, the one thing I do like, again, about your content and why you get me to listen is that you're not an asshole about how you present stuff. You tell your story and give enough information for people to make the decision. If is the anti-MLM community, are they doing good for network marketing, or is it just a bitch fest and it's a bunch of butthurt people out there who just can't be sales and recruiters? Because the one thing you said is, I'm tired of this terminology. When I did teach martial arts, one of the things that I wanted to do was I wanted to be really big in women's self-defense, but my partners and I, we tried to reinvent it by calling it women's self-offense, because we wanted to change the mentality, right? Because so we would tell people, yeah, we're teaching this self-offense class. What is that? Well, it's this and this and this. So you're teaching self-defense. No. We're teaching self-offense. So you're teaching self-defense. Same fucking thing with network marketing. When you're talking about this opportunity call, no, it's a recruiting call. It's a sales call. Why do we try to hide the word sales and recruiting? Because I was guilty of it in the beginning. What do you sell? Oh, I don't sell anything. Yes, I sell the product for my company. Yes, I'm selling the business to try to recruit you. So do we need to fix the industry with changing terminology and recognizing it? And B, do those who leave because they got manipulated, the anti-MLM community, are they doing good for the industry, or are they just butthurt?
Those are awesome questions. I've thought about both a lot. Yes, MLM, in my opinion, absolutely needs to be blatant, honest, transparent. Look, I'm trying to sell you this coffee, this creamer, this whatever you sell, this capsule, this whatever. I feed and I think this is where I used to do so well with customers, because I was straight up. I would get on a live video and be like, hey, this is how I feed my kids. If you want to help me out, support me, you can support me by buying blah, blah, blah. If not, and you don't need anything, then don't, and I was always very transparent. And I think people respect a transparent person and someone who's not trying to gloss over the truth, not trying to exchange words. And like you said, I just did it. I said opportunity call instead of recruiting call. That's exactly right. It's a recruiting. We were trying, and if more people, when they got on the opportunity or recruiting call, said, hey, in the beginning, like a disclaimer, we're trying to get you to sign up for an opportunity called here's the company. That's why you're here. If there was less guises and less curtains in front of everything, I think that the industry would be much more respected and people wouldn't have such an issue. I used to be told all the time, don't say your product's name. And so I would go back and forth with it. I would try marketing without the product name. I would try with the product name. And it didn't seem to matter either way, whether or not you told them what your company or product was. It didn't matter. So I think that transparency, full transparency, being incredibly open about what you're doing. And I said this in one of my YouTube videos, when people are being recruited, when you personally are recruiting someone, saying to them, hey, not a lot of people make money in their first however long. Here's the number of people who make money, who make money, like make a profit, not bring in just revenue, but here's the number. And I don't think that there is anything wrong with being upfront, even though the numbers in many cases are bleak. It's still honesty. And as far as anti-MLM, are they helping? It's really hard to broaden it and generalize and say all of anti-MLM is helping and So there are, in my opinion, little subsects of anti-MLM. And I think that there are some of those little pockets and corners that are seedy and sordid and incredibly ignorant. And I hate to get political, but they have this all empathic, progressive, very far leftist mentality. And
some are Democrats, socialists, admittingly, in a capitalist business.
Exactly. So it's, and that's the thing, there's a lot of hypocrisy in the anti-MLM space. And that is what, excuse me, triggered me to make that first video. And it was again, a subsect of anti-MLM. So understand, I'm not talking about everyone. I have to say that over and over again. Everyone thinks you're generalizing. And if I say anti-MLM and I call one person out, they're all taking offense. Like, are we fucking kindergarteners? Hello? No. So one thing too is I've never called anyone a name. I've never talked about, and that's not a dig on you for the Marco thing, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, I had corporate call me about that one. Corporate,
oh God, really?
Yeah, corporate sends me an email, and I call him. I go, yeah, dude, yeah, we saw the interview with Marco. It was good. Just do us a favor. And I'm like, hey, you gonna terminate my contract? No, just don't mention us with your videos. And I went, that's fine. Other than that, they were like, yeah, you stuck your guns. Marco was fine. It was good. My only issue was the hypocrisy between how they make their money. They go online, they put content up, and people donate. Great. Or all the people who are on, who have like, and Marco's, my issue with Marco was he was never in the industry. So that would be like if I was never a brain surgeon. But then the comments I saw, oh, you don't have to be, whatever. You get all these people, all the big network anti-MLMers who hate the industry, but use their code to buy their product to the link on their site. Their answer to that in reply is, well, we're not recruiting anyone. For me, for network marketing, when it finally made sense, and it took me 9 years to make sense, I'm like, oh my God, was the Robert Kiyosaki business model of you're just recruiting people to become their own customers. That's all it is. If I take the product, yes, I got to pay it. The company makes money. If I bring somebody else in who takes the product, the company's going to make money. I'm going to get a portion on that, and so on and so on and so on. It is a foolproof system to create what we call regulars in any other business. You own a coffee shop, you want regulars. You got a gym, you want members paying regulars. So when I laid that out, everybody's like, but you got to buy it. You got to buy something. And no matter how much you say, well, yeah, when I was a gym owner, I had to spend $1,850 a month in rent and this and that. But you weren't recruiting people. Yeah, but I had to get people to come in and pay tuition. They are so hell-bent on the recruiting to make money when I just don't understand how they can't say, network marketing is not a scam. I just suck at recruiting people. That's all it is.
Well, I will say this. Excuse me. I made a full-time plus. Okay? Keep in mind, I was a nurse. Income, customers only. And so all this bullshit about you can't make money, I do think it's bullshit. Now, keep in mind, I am a charismatic hustler. I will find people to buy my product on the street corner if I need money to feed my kids. And like you said, I don't think that everyone has that drive or necessity, if you will. I was really, really good at selling products. And so I didn't necessarily need to recruit people. To be honest, I never asked a single person to join the business. Never once. I didn't recruit people. They came in as a customer. If they liked the product enough, they would come to me and say, hey, how do I sell this with you? So I did what, a lot of people say, like, if there is a good, and I don't know, if there is a good way to do network marketing, I would say I was pretty close to it because I didn't like the recruiting aspect. I truly didn't. I didn't like being a team leader.
It sucks.
I hated it.
Dude, you can't motivate people to do stuff without a paycheck. I don't understand why we just don't correlate. Well, the network marketing's got, they use the word high failure rate instead of low success rate. Because when you think about it, out of a group of 100 people, is there a high or low number of people who could sell? Fucking low number. People are, they hate sales. They're afraid of sales. So if we're taking from the well of people to sell and recruit, and that number's already low, don't we think that math is going to translate into the success rate of people for the industry. So again, I can't stand this argument of it's a scam. No, just flat out say you sucked at sales. You sucked at recruiting. It wasn't for you. That's all it is.
I mean, I that is a huge part of it for a lot of people in anti-MLM. And when I first found anti-MLM content, that was the first thing that came to my mind is I think a lot of these people were unable to see any return. And of course that's upsetting. And of course you are pissed off at the industry because who else are you going to be pissed off at? And their uplines and whoever else. And I think a big issue I have with anti-MLM, and I do still consider myself anti-MLM, but I don't agree with most of what they and when I say anti-MLM, that means I personally wouldn't join one. It doesn't mean that I think other people should or shouldn't. I don't think I am or anyone is qualified enough to give advice on excuse me, like what other people should do with their money. I don't know. It's I think a lot of scorned women, yes, not all, but I do think a lot of anti-MLM is pissed off. There is a vendetta, and that is why I did call out a certain group because they had been continuing to get away with talking about women in a very disrespectful, so, putting the faces on the screens and...
Oh, you mean doing the bullying and then when someone like me comes along, he's a misogynist. Oh, God. They did more to advertise me by he's a misogynist, he's the bully. Oh, and the first one I ever got pulled into was by a really pleasant woman who called me a misogynist, pulled my stuff up, and I responded. I was very kind in the beginning. You're more than welcome to debate me, blah, blah, blah. And then I went on an attack. I kind of want to circle back to a really disturbing fact that's everywhere in life. I can't remember where I read this study years and years and years ago. I don't know if it's true now, but about 20 or 30 years ago, they talked about the fact that a good 90 or something % of the CEOs of all Fortune 500 companies are tall, athletic, well-built men. And there's a command presence to it. I did an experiment when I was on duty once. I'm only 5'7". I'm a shorter guy, but my uniform is always tailored. I have gray hair. I have aging look, this and that. And most of the guys I worked with were over 6 feet tall and whatnot. One year I decided to dye my hair. I dyed my hair dark and shaved. So I looked relatively younger. Every call we went to, I was never the officer people would approach. They would always go to the taller guy there. There's a command presence. It's psychological. You just do that. So I have to wonder what happens when you talked about the attractive woman aspect. I'm not being insultive. From my standard, most of the women who are in the anti-MLM community are unattractive women. And they pick on what you talked about before, the pretty broads that are up there doing their stuff. This just sounds like more petty bullshit to where their personalities could not come through and overcome their exterior looks. So clearly, MLM's a scam. I'm not asking you to agree at all. I'm just saying my observation. That's my words, not yours.
That's okay. Yes. I just, me personally, I stay away from any looks, but my thing is, they, in many cases, were picking apart women's looks. They were picking apart their clothes. They were picking apart their mothering.
Yep.
And I call them out, and I've now had videos made about me. And of course I expected it. Like, do people really think that I am dense, or that anyone is dense enough to think that if you call people out who are manipulative, vindictive people, that they're not going to pull you in and put you on the carpet? Like, I knew that was going to happen. Here's a big issue I have. When everyone who challenges you is racist, misogynistic, when everyone who you disagree with You are calling something that is a trendy buzzword that you heard because, you know, it's in the headlines and it's the new hashtag on IG. When and here's the bigger issue I have with that. These women are all white.
Uh-huh.
So how the fuck do you know? He's hacking over there.
Oh my God, you're killing me.
How do you know how it feels? And technically on paper, I'm white too. So I get it, but I don't at the same time.
They're insane. And again, I don't mean to make this attack about them because I want to solve problems in the industry, but the second I knew the hypocrisy was unbelievable was the first woman who called me a misogynist, and I didn't say anything about her. I actually have an Instagram that posts about a bunch of stuff. I posted something that had to do with somebody. I called somebody a fat C. Wasn't her. She went to TikTok. He called me this, and you are unsafe. Stop harassing. It wasn't about her. Blow me away. I'm like, okay, we have a problem there. The second was with Jessica Hickson, where there's videos of her talking about, it's so gross. You use your kids in your marketing, blah, 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 blah. And then it was so she's got videos talking about that, but she had her 5-year-old son up online. I want to get like a PlayStation, and my mom said that if I raise $200, she'll pay the other $200. So buy my bracelet. All I did was mash those two together, and I had a video of me going, what? And oh my God, the shit I took. How dare you expose her child for this? And you realize she was condemning other people for using their children as sales and recruiting tactics. Mm-hmm. But she had you donate or buy so she could, or her kids' products so he could buy a PlayStation. There's no logic talking about with these people. And I even said a million times, I get the frustration. I get the lies. I get the manipulation. I was a part of it to begin with. We need to solve these problems. How can we come together to solve these problems and fix the industry? And I thought I would get that with some people, including Marco. You don't get it. They don't want to hear it. They want to shut this industry down. End of story, period. They want no solution. Going back to you, that's what I like about your content. It is anti-MLM. The shitty parts of MLM that need to be changed, and you offer a good table discussion of this is what needs to be changed with the industry. You're not attacking, you're not condemning, you're offering problems that need to be solved.
I think it's important because one of the things that bothered me when I did find anti-MLM is that there was absolutely no one giving women resources. So if a woman wants to leave MLM because she was, you know, hurt like I was, and she just doesn't want to be a part of it anymore. And that's okay. Like, it's not for everyone forever. I got what I needed out of it. I learned so much about myself, life, and people being in MLM. I wouldn't take it back. I wouldn't reverse the time and do it differently. Shit, I forgot where I was going with that. I do that a lot.
The resources, which I want to say that I respect you about it, because all of them have the same tone. I made it to the top of my company. I quit. And then there's no solution to whatever problem another woman is in. It's a constant echo chamber of how bad the industry is, which makes people think, all right, I'm just not going to do the business because you hear, I call out that Erin woman, Erin Bees, who talks about the industry's a scam, but then she flat out admitted she was creating fake accounts to pad her numbers for sales, and that scammed her team. And then she just winds up leaving and quitting to make it sound like she's righteous. But you, so far, are the only one to admit, well, no, I quit. I stopped doing the business. I still collected the checks. That's the problem I have with the disingenuousness of the industry, and why I respect you so much is you're not full of shit. And I like that about you.
I think a lot of these creators in general, you're a creator, I'm a creator. I think a lot of creators would do so much better if they just stopped giving so much weight to what other people say, think, post. You know, there's been videos made about me. I don't watch them. I literally could not care less. You can call me racist. You can call me anything. I know that I'm not any of those things. And I know that I am trying to help an industry that making videos about and saying this is bad just isn't really helping if we're not offering solutions. Now, I will say there is a group who I met who is anti-MLM. There is a woman who has been in documentaries, and she is in touch with like state legislators. She's in touch with senators. She is doing a lot of conferences. She is speaking, and she is doing activist work. And I know a lot of people who watch this probably won't agree, because I do believe that she wants to shut MLM down. However,
if we're talking, I think I know what you're talking about, and I reached out to her too, and she's got if it's the same person, she has the same attitude. It's all a scam, and your massage is all
yeah. And, you know, I want to say this, that just because I get on a podcast with Dominick, or any person gets on a podcast with any other person, Dominick's not co-signing my views, and I'm not co-signing his views. We are two completely different humans from two walks of life with probably immensely different viewpoints. But what I do think is really important is conversation. Is, you know, if we are, you just said it, in an echo chamber, and we're only talking to the people who we know agree with us, then we're just getting what we want, more people to agree with us.
I have no intent on changing anti-MLMers' mind. That's a mistake I made when I first started doing these, was thinking I could sit there and prove a point. You can't do it. What I want to do is, for those who are coming into network marketing, I want them, excuse me, to hearing the opposing point of views. I mean, I told you before we did this, the podcast, I don't need you to agree with me. I don't want you to agree with me. If you're going to, I flat out said, if you embarrass me on something, do it. I don't care. I want people to say, okay, this industry is shit. All right, but I still am curious about it. What information do I need before I go forward? So I want people going forward saying, discerning properly. All right, people are scum. All right, no manipulation tactics, all this stuff. That's what I want. And as far as the whole shutting the business down stuff, see, that's what sucks too, is then you're going to take away money from people who are actually legitimately helping other people. And the one problem I have is this whole, we're so hung up on the $1 million status. If you can help somebody make an extra $500 a month, are they failing in the business? And then it always comes down to, well, how many hours a week are they working? Dude, what does it matter? I mean, yeah, you're going to do ratio and all. If they're working 100 hours a week to make $500 a month, that's all they're doing. That's a problem, but maybe that's all they're able to do. I just don't understand how we, and more so anti-MLM people are placing the value of success or failure on what their perceived monetary amount is, as is the pro MLM people, because you didn't succeed unless you made $1 million or more a year in network marketing. So I think that on both sides, that needs to change.
Yes, I agree. There is so much focus in MLM. And that was another huge, I think reason I wanted to leave, is because I saw what the money did to my friend. I saw what the rank in many cases did to people, the titles. I just saw, and it's really just a model of how life works. You know, when we get too egotistical, and if we are, innately manipulative people, we're going to hurt other people. And, and then I do also think, though, that MLM is kind of like a cesspool of manipulative people.
Very much.
And I think that because, like I said earlier, I was coming from jail. I didn't have a lot, and I didn't even have a license. I still don't drive, but I didn't have much opportunity. I could sit at home and do something from a computer. And I did it. I made it work for a long time. I left for my own personal reasons. But, even now I look at the business I run now, and I look at MLM, and some days I think, oh my God, it would be easier to go and sling products again, because holy F, being your own business owner, like for real, having an LLC and doing all of that, the upkeep, and it's hard.
Oh, but according to anti-MLMers, that's a real business. What was the window of time you were in network marketing where it became your income?
I was in from 2015. I was very in and out between 2015 and 2018. I took like over a year break. So I did not start making income, like profit over what I was buying, excuse me, until probably 2019.
And then you left in 2021.
Yeah, so like 2 years,
So
I would say.
2 years, you did the business, you made an income. If that's all you did, you got in, and those 2 years kept you afloat and improved your life, and then you got out. Was that a scam?
I don't think it was a scam. I don't call it a scam. If it were a scam, I would have not been able to feed my kids like I did. I would, it was pandemic. My husband was out of work for a great period of time in there between 2018 and 2022. I can't remember how long it was, but I know in 2020, I don't think we did a tax return for him. So I was pulling the weight in the household. And, there are other things you can do from home, obviously. But one thing about MLM that helped me in particular is there was no barrier to entry. And that's a good and a bad thing. I'm not saying it's always a good thing. I could just get in. Nobody checked my credit. Nobody said, hey, you a criminal? Nobody cared that I had been to jail. And I think that is a huge thing that should represent how we should be toward people in other realms of life.
It's a level playing field.
Yeah.
But it's just a shame that there's more scumbags who manipulate, make false promises, don't teach sales skills, don't teach marketing skills. That's the problem. The system itself, you got to buy a product every month, and you got to recruit people to buy product. So the fuck what? That's the system. You either make a choice and do that or you don't. It's all the false promises that I can't stand. But sadly, if these people like who you're talking about or Marco want to close down the recruiting industry, go knock on the U.S. military's recruiting doors.
Ooh.
And go listen to how they recruit and the promises they make. You want to talk about manipulative practices. All right, we got a few minutes left. Number one, promote. Where can everybody wind up finding you and supporting you?
I am at the Bre Bear on Instagram, and I do run a business. So when I left network marketing, I had lost 120 pounds while I was in. And that was with various products. So you don't have to go get a particular product because you can do it on your own. Anyway, I started my own business, and I help women stop dieting. And I used to call it a weight loss business, but to be honest with you, it's a non-dieting business where they can quit dieting. And a lot of women come in to lose weight and they decide, I just want to stop being miserable with how I eat. And that's enough for them. So I guess if you are struggling with dieting, I would be the place to come. And it's Girl Stop Dieting on Instagram. You can just DM me there, or you can go to girlstopdieting.com. So that's what I do full-time now. I have other little things I do on the side as well. I believe that working from home is like the most empowering, amazing thing. And whether that's in MLM, if you do it in MLM, just please do it right.
Well, let's solve that problem.
Is a right way.
So let's make that the last question. Somebody wants to come up to you and say, listen, I want to do network marketing. I know your content gives you a lot of information to discern. What should I do if I go into the industry?
You should do a lot of freaking research on companies, and you should learn how to sell the product before anything else, in my opinion. I honestly think that most team leaders get burnt out with running a team. I think recruiting is annoying. It's awful. If you sell a product to a customer and you don't build a team and you have a comp plan that supports that, you're not even doing network marketing. You're just selling, you're doing retail. If I did go back ever in MLM, I would never touch recruiting ever again, but I would consider just selling a product. Maybe in the way future there are no products that I take or need anymore. But I think that, like you said, a lot of people don't know sales well enough, and it is nuanced. It is incredibly nuanced. But always be transparent. Always tell the truth. Don't lie to people. It's not that freaking hard to just, if you want someone's money, tell them, hey, I'm trying to sell this to you. That is, I think that people just need to be more transparent.
I have no idea how that logic is not the foundation for everything. I can't tell you how many team members, man, I can't sell. Go to your people and say, listen, I'm nervous as hell. I'm trying to sell to you. I'm going to screw this conversation up. Will you please just hear me out? I don't know why because then all of a sudden the guard is down. Oh my God, and the humanity sets in. Dude, if people would tell their truth, that has solved so many problems. And I have had people a lot of success who are like, they do that same thing. Hey, listen, my guy above me on my team is busting my balls. I'm terrified. I got to sell you, but I'm so uncomfortable. And they have real conversations, and it turns out to work out well. So, yeah, God, I love your content, and I honestly hope you keep doing it. I'm going to tell you flat out, if you ever see any bullshit of mine doing, call it out. Do a video on me. Fucking expose me. I think it's how it should be done, right? Hold people like me accountable. It is the Bre Bear, the Bre Bear on Instagram and on YouTube, if you will. Yeah, this was a great conversation. I friggin' love this. I'm going to have you back on for more. Okay. And I'm so glad you take on the psychology of just feeling good and not worrying about diets. That concept can be applied with anything, and I love what you're doing. All right, guys, this is another episode of The Bull of MLM, Network Marketing Warfare. Hope you enjoyed this. Discern properly into the industry. Get in there and just be prepared to be attacked. But there are a bunch of miserable, self-hating people out there in the anti-MLM community. My words, not Bree's. Not Bree's at all. You guys have a great damn day.